Ironically, the very same people who are going to be demonetizing and censoring this video are going to be out buying firearms for the very first time. During these times of uncertainty, I present to you my new Kimber Stainless II Target chambered in 45 ACP. We'll do an unboxing and a review. Let's get started. Comes with a highly detailed manual, also includes lots of diagrams, and this manual covers multiple variants of this firearm. Also comes with a gun lock. We're going to see if this one is as easy to pick as the Ruger one is. Free sample of FP10 lubricant. We have an assortment of paperwork. Thank you card. NRA advertisement. Discount for Kimber products. Laser sights and pistols aren't my thing. Important lubrication instructions, especially if you've never owned a 1911. And here's a card in support for a fundraiser in support of veterans. Lace Up America and get your boots on. Here we have some extra fiber optic material for the sights in front of the pistol. Mine came with 2 incandescent yellow, 1 orange. As most people know from my gun videos, everything I own is left-handed. I want to go through some of the idiosyncrasies of this, being a lefty. So I'm going to put this pistol in a position where you wouldn't know if it was loaded or unloaded, even though we could see that it's cleared. So let's just put it down on the table as if it wasn't cleared. Also understand it's a little bit awkward. I only have about a foot of space to work with between the camera and the pad. So I lift the pistol up here. I want to point out a couple things. We have the release for the magazine is one thing I want to point out. And then we have the slide lock is the second thing I want to point out. And then we have the safety. That's the third thing I want to point out. And these are the 3 idiosyncrasies. So I can move my finger like this to release the magazine. And that's how I do it. It's not very difficult. It's not awkward for me. It's quite normal, actually. If you're a left-handed person, this is just how you do it on a 1911. That's all there is to it. For the slide lock, I do this. Just sort of raise my finger up, and it catches the lock to lock it back in the open position. Just like that. Lock it back, finger up, open position. It just becomes second nature. Now I'm going to discuss the thumb safety and why this particular pistol can never be used as a carry weapon for a lefty without modification. As we look here, the 1911 is carried with the hammer, cocked back, round in the chamber, and the safety is on. It's holstered like this, showing it holstered. And this might seem strange to people who've never owned a 1911, but as I hold it in my left hand, as so, I grab it from the holster, and in my thumb, there's no safety on this side. There's no way to disengage the safety, so you can't fire the weapon. I'm going to show it in my right hand, which is kind of awkward for me, but just to demonstrate, the thumb drops the safety as it's pulled from the holster, and you can fire the pistol, right? This is normal. This is how it's supposed to be done. But from the left hand, this is incorrect. What are you going to do? Pull the gun from the holster and with your trigger finger, try and drop the safety from the side of your finger and then pull the trigger. This is bad form. This should never be done. This would be resolved with an ambidextrous safety upgrade. Move on to my inspection portion of the video, looking at the checkered rosewood grips embossed with the Kimber logo. I think that's a nice touch. We can see the textured grip here in the rear. Really deep. Grips very nicely. I would have liked to have seen it in the front, but it's not there. It's okay. Skeletonized trigger. This trigger is also adjustable for the weight, for the pull. It's also match grade. If you look closely, you could see texturing on the face of the trigger itself. We could see that Kimber logo is very nicely embossed into the slide. Slide has serrations on the front as well as the rear. The serrations are really deep. They grip nicely. I don't really have a use for front serrations, but there is value in that for some people who use it. See texture on all things that are buttons or levers or what have you on this pistol. Again, no ambidextrous safety. That's a modification that I'm going to have to make to this pistol. Got a nice beaver tail grip safety to protect your hand from the hammer. This is a really nice one. Not one of the smaller ones that sometimes you get pinched when it fires. We could see skeletonized hammer too. If we look at that, it's got a nice texture to it as well. Being a target model, obviously it has adjustable sights. We could see an adjustment here, an adjustment here. I'd be running some considerable ammunition through this and looking at my groupings before making any adjustments though. It's hard to see through the camera with the focus, but we can see the fiber optic sight at the end. There's a sight picture right there. Here's a look at the front sights. Came from the factory with the orange fiber optic in it. Doesn't have like an enormous mag well, but it is chamfered to make installation of the magazine easier. I want to take a minute to talk about the magazine that comes with this pistol. This is the Kimber emblazoned magazine right here. It has a pretty bad reputation actually as far as a carry. Like for target, people don't care much. Seems to have failure to load problems. So you hear on the internet. I've used this for the first 50 rounds. I had absolutely no problems with it. That's not to say that there aren't problems with it. As far as aesthetics go, looks real nice. Pop it in, fits real nice as well. Obviously, it's made for this pistol. I know the Wilson Combat ones are very popular, but I'm going to be using this one for the testing and break-in to report back if there are any problems with it, with the break-in that I'm doing for this pistol. Let's break it down. First thing I'm going to do is clear it again for YouTube, who needs to see it cleared like every 2 minutes. So we're going to clear this weapon and see there's nothing in it again. There's nothing in it. Okay. I've got it racked back. Hammer's back. Safety's off. And this is how we're going to begin. This special tool is provided. And man, that spring is under a lot of tension. Don't try and do this without a tool and take your eye out, knock out a window or a chandelier. So we're going to depress this, push this in there like so, and we're going to turn clockwise. I'm going to wait till I feel pressure behind this, and it's a lot of pressure really quick. With the tool, it's safe. We can see that spring pushed up. We're going to remove the recoil spring plug and place it down. And as I pull up the spring, sometimes it grabs a little. I just give a little light twist on that spring, and then it just comes loose. And we see the inner part of the spring is flat, and the outer facing part is pointed. So the flat part goes on the inner side. Remember that. We can see I'll even have it laid out on the pad so we don't forget. We're going to see as I pull the slide back to this first little detent right here. I'm going to bring the gun up close. We can have a look. Right there in that little detent, squared right in the middle. If we look at the other side of this slide stop, see this sticking out here, this protrusion. I'm going to push in and just a little downward push at the same time. We can see that pop right out. We're going to pull this all the way out just like that and place this down. Now very gently, normally with the pistol upside down, except you can't see it in the camera, I'm going to gently push the slide all the way forward and out from the bottom of the pistol. See how easily that detaches. I'll lay that down as a separate piece. Now I turn the barrel bushing counterclockwise all the way in the other direction. And then I'm able to pull it right out. If I get my fingers around it. There it goes. Barrel bushing's removed. This has a full-size guide rod. I pull it right out the back like so. Now I take the barrel. As you can see, the barrel link is leaned forward. Down position. Barrel slides right out the front. This pistol is now completely broken down for general service. In this pistol, as I pick it up, you can see that it's been cleaned. As they arrive, they have been pre-fired. They do arrive slightly dirty and requiring oil. A lot of mistakes that people make is they pick up this gun, they're really excited, they go down to the range, and they try and push a lot of ammo through it, and they lock up. Kimber gets a reputation for pistols that have failure to load, failure to eject, mechanical failures. They have very tight tolerances. Probably the tightest tolerances for a mass-produced firearm. After this, you start getting into a whole different level of firearms, like Ed Brown and Wilson Combat. Firearms that cost thousands of dollars that are finished by professional gunsmiths, costing tons of labor, right? And with this, you're really breaking it in very much like you break in an engine. You're seating the rings to the cylinders, and you're going to remove microscopic amounts of metal into the oil. So you're going to shoot like 50 rounds and you're going to want to clear that oil and the debris. We're not talking about a lot. We're talking at a microscopic level that everything is just coming together to make a perfect seating. And I'll quickly point out, never fire this pistol when it's taken apart like this. You'll cause severe damage to the frame and possibly other mechanisms. I also feel that it's not just important enough that you have some sort of break-in procedure for a Kimber and that you regularly clean the pistol and clean it well as provide adequate oil on all of the points that require oil, but also that you use the correct oil. And it's not a matter of just like oil quality or brand recognition. It also has to do with oil viscosity as well, other properties about the oil, and that's why Kimber recommends particular types of oil for their pistol. They even supply a free sample of their oil, the FP10. And I have my own bottle of FP10, and it's just for this firearm. I have other different types of oils that I use for different types of guns because there are different applications, and there's no one size fits all. I have my favorite type of gun oil that I use for all of my guns. It's just not possible in my opinion, because I have different types of guns and no gun is the same. So this pretty cool pistol cleaning kit on Amazon, picked it up. Got everything I need for a pistol. Use it for the other pistols as well. Also came with the regular implements that I would use to clean a pistol. But this is not a gun cleaning video. I would, however, like to discuss the oiling that they recommend. Assuming everything was cleaned properly, they have a list here that tells you exactly where and how much oil to use to lubricate the 1911. I'm going to be displaying these as absolute literal locations. I personally add oil on other places too. Slide and frame rails, 3 drops on each side. Disconnector on the top of the frame, 1 drop. Barrel hood, 2 drops spread across the surface. Barrel locking lugs inside slide, non-barrel, 1 drop on each lug. Barrel link, 1 drop behind link. Slide stop pin, 1 drop spread across surface. Outside of barrel, 3 drops spread across surface. Cocked hammer, 1 drop between the hammer and the frame. Guide rod, 1 drop spread across surface. So now we'll bring the link forward, slide the barrel in from the front all the way to the end. Now we'll insert the guide rod, rest it just forward of the link. Push the link upward. I'm going to bring together the bottom portion onto the slide, onto the rails, till it stops at this point. I'm going to turn it over to complete this. I don't have a lot of room with the camera. So now as I turn it over, I'm going to slide the rest of it back. My finger's holding the guide rod from coming all the way forward, just like that. And now I'm going to slide everything back until that detent lines up just like this. I'm going to drop the slide stop pin through that hole. And with a slight upward, inward motion, I snap it into place. Then bring the slide all the way forward. Insert the barrel bushing. Bring it all the way clockwise. Observing the direction of the spring with the flat side inward, I insert the spring onto the guide rod. Top it off with the recoil spring plug. I'll manually push everything down just far enough that I could push the bushing over to lock everything like this. And then with the special tool, I'll roll everything counterclockwise to cover it so it's safe. And then with my finger, I'll just have to negotiate it so it snaps like that. Finally, move the slide back 5 or 6 times and dry fire it. Remove excess lubrication. And that's it. That concludes my video on this Kimber Stainless Target II chambered in 45 ACP. I hope you found this video entertaining. Hit that like button down below. Helps me out a lot when you do. Hit that subscribe button for more videos as they come out. Again, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?